Well, the city of New York decided to settle a lawsuit filed against them by Black Lives Matter protesters who were part of the George Floyd insurrection in the summer of 2020 and decided to give each one of the protesters $10,000, totaling $13 million, because they claim that the police were too mean to them. New York City agrees to pay $13 million to 2020 racial injustice protesters. That's what the Associated Press calls it, the Black Lives Matter insurrection, the Marxist insurrection. In historic class action. Yes, historically insane. In New York City, a court just ruled that about 5,000 non-white aspiring teachers will receive a part of a $1.8 billion payout after the court claims that the test that they were required to take to become a teacher was racist. The lawsuit, originally filed by 4 teachers in 1996, claimed that the exam was culturally biased in favor of white applicants. But bravo to Fox News for finally capitalizing the word white in their story. According to the applicants, more than 90% of white applicants passed the multiple choice and essay test, while black applicants only passed 53% of the time. Hispanics only received passing scores 50% of the time. This is literally one of the aspiring teachers who was part of the settlement, who is now going to be getting hundreds of thousands of dollars because the only reason that he didn't pass the test is because of racism.
And they knew I wasn't taking him serious because I just wasn't taking him serious. You know, why would you send me letters and tell me about lawsuit? Because I know lawsuit either.
They said that they weren't taking him seriously. Can't imagine why.
They'll go through or they won't go through. You know, from reading, hearing, news, and all that stuff.
Reading, writing, and arithmetic, I think, is what you're trying to say there, teacher.
And I know a couple of people that had, well, not in education, but they went through lawsuits and they didn't win or anything like that. So to me, it's like fabric, you know, either, you know, but it's.
By the way, that is the smoke alarm beeping because the battery needs to be replaced, and I'm sure that he doesn't understand that.
Injustice that's happening to my people.
At a public meeting of the Reparations Commission, people spoke out, sometimes passionately.
Our ancestors helped build this country.
African Americans, black people, whatever you want to label us this time. We're on an island of destitute, despair, amongst the sea of abundance.
True liberation starts with money.
The task force was set up by the state legislature in 2020 to develop proposals for compensating California residents who are descendants of enslaved people.
This task force is designed to examine the harms associated with the enslavement of black people, African Americans in this country, as well as the legacy of the harms of enslavement.
What do we want? Reparations.
Advocates say reparations would not only be for slavery, but the century and a half of racism that followed.
And we think about over time, whether you want to start with the Jim Crow laws, whether we want to think about moving forward with the redlining with real estate, the horrors of discrimination, segregation, all of those things followed slavery and have continued, I think, to plague us through today.
Economists consulted by the panel estimate that the cost of compensating California's black residents could top $800 billion. That's 2.5 times the state's budget for this year. The task force chair says reparations may not be limited to money.
The recommendations for reparations must include compensation, restitution, which accounts for stolen land or stolen wealth, stolen opportunities, rehabilitation, free education, free health care is examples. I'm not saying those are going to be the final recommendations.
The task force would like to hear from everyone.
The task force must complete its report by July 1st.
The commission's ultimate recommendations will be purely advisory. The state's legislature and governor will ultimately decide what, if any, reparations are given, a process that is sure to prompt more debate about history, equity, and cost.